In a world far removed from the gilded cages of aristocratic society, where the spirit of the untamed West still breathed fiercely, there unfolds a tale of a woman stripped of her past, only to find her true self, and a love deeper than any she could have imagined. This is a story of resilience, of breaking free from chains unseen, and of the extraordinary beauty that can bloom in the most unexpected of places. Lady Victoria Blackwood carried her name like an ornate yet suffocating crown. In the grand drawing rooms of Boston, her robust figure and quiet, often melancholic eyes were deemed a grave disappointment by her father, Lord Ashworth. He was a man whose ambition was as sharp as his tailored suits, and Victoria's inability to secure a suitable marriage, one that would further his social standing, was an unforgivable blight. She was not delicate, not charming in the way expected, and therefore, in his estimation, she was a failure. Victoria Lord Ashworth's voice was a low, cutting whisper that evening, the kind that held more ice than anger. Your presence here is no longer tenable. I have made arrangements. You will be sent west to the Sunstone clan. They require a gesture of good faith to settle our recent land claim. You will be that gesture. Victoria felt a cold dread seep into her bones, colder than any New England winter. The West, the Sunstone clan. She'd heard whispers chilling tales of savage lands and wild, untamed peoples. Her stomach churned with a terror so profound it threatened to swallow her whole, yet beneath it was a more searing pain, the agony of utter rejection. Her own father, the man whose duty it was to cherish and protect her, was bartering her away like a prize hog, a cumbersome burden to be rid of. Tears welled, but she blinked them back, refusing to give him the satisfaction of her weakness. She knew with a crushing certainty that in his eyes, her tears held no value, no power to sway his decision. The journey was a brutal baptism by dust and solitude. Victoria sat in the rickety wagon, each jolt of the wheels against the unforgiving terrain, sending a tremor through her weary body. The fine silks she once wore were replaced by rough, travel-stained canvas, and the meticulous coiffure of her hair was now a tangled mess, gritty with the red dust that perpetually clung to the air. Her throat ached from the dryness, and her spirit felt as parched as the landscape around her. Her escort was a warrior of the Sunstone clan, a man named Chief Red Eagle. He was a towering figure, his face etched with the wisdom of the sun, and wind his eyes like polished obsidian, deep, silent, and entirely unreadable. He spoke only when necessary, his infrequent glances at her unsettling in their intensity. Victoria, steeped in her father's warnings of primitive barbarians, was gripped by a raw, primal fear of this silent, formidable man. The first days within the Sunstone clan's village were a prolonged exercise in despair. Every fiber of Victoria's being screamed for the comforts of her past life, the soft warmth of her bed, the fragrant steam of her morning tea, the familiar quiet of her private study. Here she faced a relentless, scorching sun that baked the earth, and nights that descended with a chilling, unforgiving cold. Food was simple, often unfamiliar, and her new clothes felt coarse against her skin. She felt utterly alien, a misplaced porcelain doll in a vast, rugged wilderness. Each night she would wrap herself tightly in a thin blanket, the tears she tried so hard to suppress, finally escaping to dampen her makeshift pillow. She was convinced this was not merely an exile, but a slow, agonizing end. Chief Red Eagle, though, a man of few words, observed Victoria with a quiet intensity. He saw the terror in her wide, unaccustomed eyes, but he also perceived a spark, a fragile yet persistent flame of defiance. He did not treat her as a prisoner, nor as a mere item of exchange. Instead, He regarded her as a displaced spirit, a lost wanderer who had unexpectedly found herself on their path. He led her to his grandmother, an ancient woman whose face was a roadmap of sun-kissed wrinkles, her silver hair braided with beads, and her eyes as gentle and knowing as the dawn. She was Grandmother Willow, the heart of the Sunstone clan. Grandmother Willow greeted Victoria, not with suspicion, but with a serene, accepting smile. She asked no questions, offered no judgments. Instead, she simply placed a steaming bowl of nourishing stew into Victoria's trembling hands and draped a warm, thick buffalo hide over her shoulders. "The path you have walked has been long and weary," child Grandmother Willow said, in English slow and deliberate, but imbued with a profound, comforting empathy. "Rest now. Here, beneath our sky, you will find safety." Grandmother Willow's unwavering kindness was a revelation to Victoria. She had steeled herself for animosity for the harsh glares of strangers, but what she found instead was an embracing warmth, an acceptance without conditions. Slowly, hesitantly, Victoria began to observe the daily rhythms of the Sunstone clan. Their lives were interwoven with the land, simple yet rich in spirit. They were not the savages her father had painted. They were a community deeply connected, bound by ancient customs, stories, and songs. They revered the earth, the rivers, and every creature that walked upon it. Each member, regardless of age or ability, held a vital place within the tribe, and their contributions, however small, were honored. Victoria, awkward and utterly unsuited for this rugged existence, began her arduous journey of adaptation. Her attempts to build a fire often ended in frustration. Her hands fumbled when fetching water from the river, and the vast edible bounty of the forest remained a mystery. She felt a burning shame for her incompetence, her helplessness. Yet surprisingly, no one mocked her. Chief Red Eagle, with his quiet strength, would patiently demonstrate his hands gentle as he guided hers. Grandmother Willow's encouragement was a steady, soft melody. "Every stumble is a lesson, my child," the elder woman would murmur, her voice like the rustling leaves of an old tree. "Do not fear to fall, for it is then that you learn to rise." One scorching afternoon, as Victoria wrestled with the unfamiliar chore of washing clothes by the riverbank, her movements stiff and uncoordinated, Chief Red Eagle approached. He did not speak, but knelt beside her, picking up a smooth river stone. With slow, deliberate movements, he showed her how to use it to scrub the fabric, the friction lifting the dirt away. "Use this to clean," he said, his voice a deep, resonant hum. Victoria imitated his motion, and to her astonishment, the clothes became remarkably cleaner. She looked at him, a tiny, tentative smile gracing her lips. It was a fleeting moment, a silent exchange, but in that shared act, she felt a subtle connection, a spark of gratitude, a nascent recognition of something beyond the fear. Chief Red Eagle gradually began to initiate Victoria into the deeper mysteries of their world. He taught her the intricate knowledge of medicinal herbs, how to discern the hidden trails of animals, how to listen to the silent whispers of the wind through the pines. He never coerced her, never demanded. He simply shared patiently the wisdom accumulated over generations. Victoria, with an intelligence sharpened by years of academic pursuits, absorbed it all, though in an entirely new context. She began to feel a burgeoning strength in her body, a clarity blooming in her mind. The helpless, tearful Ilara was fading, replaced by a nascent version of herself, a small yet resilient part of the Sunstone clan. Months bled into seasons, and Victoria, once dismissed as a mere burden, was transformed. Her figure, though still full, now radiated the robust health and vitality of one accustomed to the open air and physical labor. She could trek for miles across the rugged landscape, her breath steady her stride, confident. She carried heavy buckets of water from the stream with an ease that would have astonished her former self, and her hands, once soft and idle, now skillfully assisted the other women of the clan in their daily tasks. More profoundly, she had found her voice, her unwavering sense of self-worth. She no longer viewed herself through the condemning gaze of her father, but through the accepting, appreciative eyes of the Sunstone clan. One evening, as the full luminous moon hung like a pearl in the vast inky canvas of the night sky, Victoria sat by the crackling communal fire, listening to Grandmother Willow weave an ancient, mesmerizing tale. Chief Red Eagle sat opposite her. His gaze, usually reserved, now openly rested upon her face. He saw the profound peace, the radiant glow that had replaced the shadow of sorrow she once carried. When Grandmother Willow's narrative concluded, Cale rose and with a silent gesture invited Victoria to follow him beyond the village, to a small secluded rise overlooking the moonlit valley. Victoria, Chief Red Eagle, began, his voice a low resonant murmur, softer than she had ever heard it. When your father brought you to us, he spoke of you as a burden, a punishment. But I saw no such thing. He turned fully towards her, his deep dark eyes reflecting the silver light of the moon, revealing a tenderness that made her breath catch. I saw a powerful spirit yearning to be free from its gilded cage. I saw a compassionate heart, deeply wounded. I saw a woman with the capacity to soar, even after being cast down. Victoria's heart pounded a frantic drumbeat in her chest. Never in her wildest dreams had she imagined such words, such profound understanding from him. "What did you see in me, Cale?" she whispered, her voice fragile with emotion. "I saw beauty," Chief Red Eagle replied, stepping closer, his presence warm and comforting. "Not the fleeting superficial beauty that your former world defined, but the enduring beauty of fierce resilience, of unwavering kindness, of absolute authenticity. I saw a woman who was perfect precisely as she was in her own unique way." He reached out his calloused hand, gently, reverently cupping her cheek. "I love you, Victoria. I love the woman you are, the woman you have bravely become." Tears, hot and free, finally spilled from Victoria's eyes, but these were not tears of sorrow or despair. They were tears of profound joy, of boundless relief, of a liberation she had never dared to hope for. She had never, not once in her life, been seen, understood, and loved so utterly and unconditionally. She flung her arms around Chief Red Eagle, burying her face against his chest, feeling the comforting warmth of his embrace, the steadfast strength of his love. "I love you too, Cale," she murmured, her voice muffled but clear. "You have given me a life I never knew was possible." Months later, as Victoria and Chief Red Eagle were preparing for their union, a company of mounted soldiers cloaked in the dust of the eastern trails appeared on the fringes of the Sunstone clan village. Leading them was Lord Ashworth, Victoria's father, his face a mask of determined fury. He had received fragmented rumors of his daughter's survival and her savage existence among the natives. He had come to reclaim her, though his true intention was to drag her back to his world, to force a politically advantageous marriage with a wealthy aging duke, thereby restoring his tarnished reputation. Lord Ashworth's gaze swept over Victoria, now clad in the simple, elegant buckskin of the Sunstone clan, her dark hair woven into intricate braids, her eyes alight with an unyielding confidence. He did not recognize her. "Where is the girl?" he roared, his voice echoing harshly across the peaceful clearing. "My daughter Victoria." Victoria stepped forward, her stride firm, her chin held high, directly confronting the man who had cast her aside. "I am here, father." She stated, her voice calm, clear, and imbued with an iron will. "I am no longer the Victoria you once knew. I am Luna, the name Grandmother Willow has bestowed upon me, meaning moonborn, a guide in the darkness." Lord Ashworth was momentarily stunned into silence, his jaw dropping. "Preposterous. You have been corrupted by these savages. You will return with me at once." "No, Father," Luna responded, her voice unwavering. "I will not return. I have found my true family, my profound love, and my purpose here. You cast me out, but these people whom you call savages embraced me. I have found the respect and dignity you never afforded me." Lord Ashworth's face contorted with rage, turning a dangerous shade of crimson. He lunged, drawing a concealed pistol and aiming it directly at Chief Red Eagle's heart. "You have bewitched my daughter. You will pay for this audacity." In the split second that his finger tightened on the trigger, a blur of motion. Another Sunstone warrior, Chief Red Eagle's loyal kinsman, leapt forward without hesitation, shielding his chief. The bullet found its mark, tearing into his shoulder. A collective gasp, then a guttural cry of anguish erupted from the clan. Chief Red Eagle caught his fallen brother, his eyes, usually so serene, now blazing with a fierce protective fury. The Sunstone warriors, swift and silent, as shadows, immediately surrounded Lord Ashworth and his stunned soldiers. Chief Red Eagle, though his heart ached for his injured kinsman, maintained a chilling calm. He fixed his gaze upon Luna's father, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. "You have violated the sacred laws of this land," he stated, his words carrying the weight of generations. "You have shed the blood of my people." Lord Ashworth, disarmed and utterly bewildered by this unexpected turn of events, was taken into custody. He simply could not fathom that his own daughter, the burden he had so readily discarded, would defy him so absolutely, or that these savages could wield such unexpected authority and strength. Luna stood steadfastly by Chief Red Eagle's side, her hand clasped tightly in his. The paralyzing fear of her father was gone, replaced by an empowering surge of courage. She had found the unwavering strength to protect all that she now held dear. Chief Red Eagle looked at her, his eyes filled with immense pride. "You are a true warrior, Luna," he murmured, his voice a balm to her soul. "A warrior of the heart." Many years unfurled, each bringing new growth and wisdom. Victoria, now known only as Luna, blossomed into a deeply revered healer within the Sunstone clan. She meticulously absorbed all the ancient, intricate knowledge of traditional remedies from Grandmother Willow, her hands becoming adept at nurturing and healing, saving countless lives within the community. She and Chief Red Eagle were married beneath the boundless expanse of the moonlit sky, their vows witnessed by the entire joyous clan. They forged a life together that was simple, profoundly meaningful, and imbued with an enduring happiness. Luna no longer harbored any memories of silk gowns or the hollow laughter of lavish Eastern parties. She had discovered a wealth beyond measure, a richness found only in unconditional love, profound acceptance, and an unbreakable connection to the pulse of the living earth. The extraordinary story of Luna, the aristocratic woman abandoned by her father, who against all odds forged a magnificent new life in the heart of the American West, gradually began to spread beyond the tribal lands. A perceptive journalist from the sophisticated East, catching fragments of the compelling tale, embarked on an arduous journey to the Sunstone clan village, determined to interview Luna. His published article, sensationally titled "The Moon-Born Princess and the Unveiling of True Worth," sent ripples of astonishment and profound introspection across the nation. It was not merely a recounting of Luna's incredible personal odyssey, but a deeply authentic and strikingly positive portrayal of the Sunstone clan. It skillfully dismantled the entrenched erroneous prejudices and barbaric stereotypes that had long plagued perceptions of native peoples. Luna's story, a beacon of truth and resilience, became a catalyst, shifting the perspectives of countless individuals, leading them to a profound realization that the true essence and value of a human being can never ever be defined by superficial appearances or fleeting social standing. 20 years later, Luna and Chief Red Eagle sat side by side beneath the majestic ancient cottonwood tree that shaded their family home, their gaze tenderly fixed upon their grandchildren, who played with boundless energy in the sun-dappled yard. Luna had aged gracefully, her face now bearing the gentle lines of experience, but her eyes still sparkled with the same profound peace and incandescent joy. "Kale," she said, her voice soft with reflection, "my father casting me aside, which felt like a cruel, soul-crushing punishment at the time, was in truth the most extraordinary gift I ever received. It was a catalyst that led me directly to you, to this beloved clan, and most importantly, to the truest version of myself." Chief Red Eagle reached for her hand, his fingers intertwining with hers, a gentle, reassuring squeeze. "From the very first moment I recognized the immense potential within you, Luna," he said, his voice a deep, comforting rumble. "I saw no burden. I saw a brilliant spirit, luminous and vibrant, merely waiting for the chance to be set absolutely free. And I knew with unwavering certainty that you, my Luna, would become a guiding moonlight for so many others who were lost in their own darkness." The journey of Luna teaches us a profound truth. A person's intrinsic worth is never dictated by outward appearance, social status, or the fleeting approval of others. Instead, it resides deeply within our inner strength, the boundless capacity for kindness, our inherent ability to adapt to life's tumultuous currents, and the courage to forge our own meaningful purpose. Sometimes the trials that seem most devastating are in fact veiled opportunities, catalysts that compel us to unearth the most powerful and authentic versions of ourselves. Embrace your inherent value, unwavering, even when the world around you strives to deny it. What emotions did Luna's remarkable journey stir within your heart? Which moments resonated with you the most? We invite you to share your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below. And if this tale touched your soul, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel for more inspiring stories that illuminate the enduring power of the human spirit. Your engagement helps us share these timeless narratives with a wider audience.